The unsolved mystery surrounding the death of Hollywood legend Gene Hackman continues to this day. While the media reported that he died of old age and illness, the strange events surrounding his death and the attack on his daughter, Leslie Hackman, raise a number of questions. Is there a hidden force behind all of this? If so, why are those close to him hiding the truth? With a number of suspicious clues, such as the security system being turned off and strange actions happening after Hackman's death, this case becomes who is really behind all of this? Does Leslie Hackman, who is the only one left holding the secret, have the guts to tell the truth? If you find this story interesting, leave a 1 in the comments. If you want to learn more about this mysterious case, leave a 0, and join us as we look into the details in this music video. Gene Hackman's death seemed to end a Hollywood legend at first, but it led to a series of mysteries that kept the public guessing. There was a lot of disagreement about the official reports that he died of old age and illness, with some claiming that he had been suffering from Alzheimer's in his later years. However, as soon as the news came out, Leslie Hackman, his daughter, strongly denied this information, saying that her father was in perfect health and showed no signs of dementia. This wasn't just a mistake, it made people wonder if someone was trying to hide the truth or even change the story. As more information is gathered about his death, more strange details become clear. For example, Gene Hackman's security camera system was turned off right before he died. This is very suspicious because surveillance cameras are usually very useful for checking the facts in cases involving celebrities. However, in this case, all the footage from the cameras disappeared without a trace, which suggests that either someone in the family killed him on purpose or someone attacked him on purpose. Hackman's family reacted in a strange way. Leslie Hackman quickly confirmed that her father was not suffering from dementia, even though there were no public medical reports about his condition. The family's contradictory statements have made people wonder who is telling the truth and who is trying to hide it. Hackman's daughter was attacked by an unknown person after Gene Hackman's funeral. What made the attack stand out was that the attacker was Gene Hackman's daughter. She was attacked, but no valuables were taken, which led to the idea that the target wasn't her things but Leslie herself. Was this a warning? Could the person who did this have wanted to make sure that Leslie wouldn't say anything important about her father's death? When police arrived at the scene, they saw signs of a fight, but there was no direct evidence that pointed to the attacker. During questioning later, Leslie described the details of the attack. According to her, the attacker came out of the shadows and moved quickly and forcefully, indicating that this was not a normal thief. Notably, he had no plans to steal or take anything valuable from the house. His only goal was to attack Leslie. He lunged at her with such force that she was knocked to the ground, and Leslie fought back, starting a short but intense struggle. She said that the attacker didn't say a word during the whole thing, but there was a moment when he seemed to think about whether to continue. She was shocked when he let go of her and ran off into the night, leaving nothing behind. This is especially important because if it had been a robbery, the attacker would have taken something valuable. But he didn't, and he didn't mean to hurt Leslie seriously. This suggests that it wasn't a typical robbery, but rather an act meant to serve as a warning. When the police arrived at the scene, they saw signs of police looked for signs of a fight, but didn't find much. There was no blood, no strange fingerprints, and no objects left behind as unusual evidence. Leslie had fallen and hurt herself, but there were no signs that she had been attacked. If the attacker had really wanted to hurt her, he could have easily done so when she couldn't defend herself. But he didn't. He freed her and quickly ran away, showing that he didn't want to make things worse. The police also questioned the security camera system was turned off right before the attack, so it couldn't have been a coincidence. Someone had planned ahead, understood the home security system, and known how to hide their tracks. One of the first ideas the police had was that the attack might have been connected to a family dispute over Hackman's estate, but Leslie hadn't received any threats before the attack, and there wasn't any open conflict in the family involving her, which made the case even stronger. Another investigation looked into Gene Hackman's relationships before his death, trying to figure out if he was involved with any people or groups, and whether Leslie might have learned something important without realizing it. If this was the case, then the attack could have been a warning to her not to look into her father's death too much. If she did find out something and wanted to look into it before calling the police, she could have played another part in the murder. There are many unknown facts about Gene Hackman's death and the attack on Leslie Hackman, which raises the important question of who is responsible for these events. One popular theory says that Gene Hackman's death and Leslie's attack were not random events, but rather connected to an underground force. Based on what has happened, there are many signs that a complex plan is being carried out to hide something Hackman may have known before his death. Hackman was not only a famous actor, but also a major figure in the film industry with roles that revealed political and social secrets. This raises the question of whether he might have been in dangerous relationships outside of the film industry. Unconfirmed sources say that Hackman had taken part in independent investigations into sensitive issues, which made him a target for powerful organizations. Documents released by the FBI also show that some of Hackman's close friends said he expressed the last few years of his life. Gene Hackman, who was known for being discreet and staying out of Hollywood scandals, became more wary. He once told a friend that there were some things that should never be said, but sometimes the truth had to come out. These words show Hackman's inner anxiety and also imply that he may have been hiding something important that would be dangerous to reveal. Hackman's death has been compared to many other strange deaths, involving people who tried to reveal secrets about secret underground groups. Gary Webb, the investigative journalist who revealed the CIA's ties to drug cartels, was found dead with 2 gunshot wounds to the head. His death was ruled a suicide, but many people think he was killed to silence him. Michael Hastings, another investigative journalist who uncovered military scandals, died in a suspicious car accident that was thought to have been caused by remote interference. If Hackman, someone may have killed him to hide the truth about illegal activities, money laundering, politics, or even a government plot. They may have taken advantage of his old age and health to hide the truth. If Leslie, his daughter, found something important, she could be the next target. The attack on Leslie is the most suspicious part of the case. If the attacker's only goal was to kill her, they had plenty of time and chances to do so. There are 2 possible interpretations of this. Either the organization behind it didn't want to draw attention to itself, or they wanted to send a clear message that Leslie shouldn't keep looking into her father's death. Also, the fact that the security system was turned off before the attack shows that the attacker knew how to use surveillance technology, which is even more suspicious if there was help from within the organization. Another idea is that this might have something to do with a conflict or secret in the Hackman family. As we already said, there is a clear contradiction in the testimonies of family members about Gene Hackman's health. His oldest daughter said he had Alzheimer's, but Leslie strongly denied it. This contradiction is not just a matter of memory loss or personal opinion. It could be a sign of an internal plot to change Hackman's story. If he was diagnosed with dementia, any decisions he made in his last years could be thrown out, allowing other family members to take control of his estate and inheritance. In this case, Leslie may have found changes in her father's legal documents and become a threat to those who are trying to hide the truth. The attack could have been a warning to stop her from continuing her investigation, or even an attempt to remove her from the investigation, which is one of the most common reasons why people are attacked. Hackman was one of the biggest movie stars of the 20th century, and along with his fame, he also built up a huge fortune that was thought to be worth tens of millions of dollars. Hackman's assets included real estate, film royalties, investment stocks, and other unreported finances. One might think that after his death, his wealth would be distributed in a clear way according to his wishes, but what was surprising was that Gene Hackman made some big changes to his will in the last few months of his life, and much of his wealth no longer went to his biological children, according to papers provided by Hackman's lawyer. A few months before he died, Hackman made these changes, which not only changed how his estate would be distributed, but also raised a lot of questions about the true intentions of those who made these decisions. Before, Hackman's will had split his assets fairly evenly between his children and a number of charitable organizations. However, in the most recent change to Hackman's will, a large part of his estate was no longer given to Leslie Elizabeth or other close family members. Instead, it was transferred to an anonymous fund, and the final beneficiary's identity is still unknown. This adds to the mystery and complexity of the case. Who is behind this anonymous fund? If Hackman really wanted to leave his fortune to an investment or charitable fund, why didn't he publicly name the manager or explain the purpose? Legal experts say that this fund could be a way to hide the real beneficiary. If so, someone may have had a big impact on Hackman's decision right before he died, maybe even setting things up so that he couldn't change his will. As soon as the will was made public, Hackman's family went crazy. Sources close to the family said that Leslie was especially angry when she found out that her inheritance had been drastically cut. What's even more interesting is that Leslie got into a huge fight with She argued with her father just months before he died. Some witnesses say the fight was over inheritance. Their tense relationship over the years made it look like Leslie was trying to step in to make sure she got a bigger share of the estate. Hackman's will was changed soon after, and Leslie's strange actions after her father's death led many to wonder if she had anything to do with his sudden death. Leslie's actions only raised more questions after she learned of her father's death. Instead of showing sadness or staying to help with the investigation, she quickly disappeared from the media spotlight. Security cameras also caught her going back to the Hackman estate in the middle of the night to get documents and quickly leaving when a mysterious fire broke out nearby and burned some of the papers. These papers are thought to include the will or other important documents. It's strange that Leslie would act this way if she had nothing to hide. Not only that, but she also refused to help the police with their investigation into Hackman's estate. She made a lot of excuses to not give them information, hired her own lawyer, and stopped talking to most of her family. The police also looked into some strange financial transactions that happened in Hackman's accounts right before he died. And it just so happened that a lot of money has been moved into accounts connected to Leslie. This makes people wonder if she changed Hackman's will for her own benefit. And if so, was Hackman's death really a natural event, or was there some kind of planned plot going on? Public opinion is split into two groups. One group thinks Leslie is just trying to protect her reputation and avoid getting caught up in false rumors, while the other group thinks she is directly involved in the incident because of the contradictory signs in her behavior. Hackman's death may have been the result of a plot, as shown by Leslie's statements and actions right after Gene Hackman's death, especially the sudden change in his will. If Leslie is not involved, why wouldn't she help the police? Why would she destroy documents and not act like a grieving daughter after her father's death? Why was she calm enough to have lunch with her sister right after hearing about his death? These questions remain unanswered the more the investigation goes on. More strange details lead to another theory that should be thought about. If not Leslie, then who changed Hackman's will? It could have been a mysterious person who took advantage of Hackman's tense relationship with his daughter to change the assets in their favor. Hackman's anonymous fund may not only be a way to hide money, but also a way to hide who the real beneficiary is. Leslie's attack may not have been a random event, but rather a planned one. This was done on purpose to warn her not to get involved with the real estate matters. This is a common way for large estates to get a family member to stay out of a dispute. A final theory could have something to do with Hackman's past. Even though he was only an actor, he was in a lot of movies about politics, crime, and plots. If he accidentally revealed a major secret he wasn't supposed to know, like a corruption plot or a financial scandal, his death may not have been an accident. Dark forces may have wanted Hackman to keep quiet by chance. According to the FBI, they have met business owners, politicians, people in finance, and even people in the underground Hollywood world, which is the center of the entertainment industry and a place where art and power meet. If Gene Hackman had ever been involved in an independent investigation or had ties to powerful people, his death could have been planned to keep him from saying anything. Cases in the past of famous people like politicians, singers, business people, and actors dying suddenly and mysteriously only to be forgotten raises more questions. Could Hackman have been the victim of a plot like this? If Gene Hackman had tried to reveal the truth before his death, Leslie might be the only one left who knows about it. If her father told her what he found, she could be hiding a secret that someone wants to stay buried forever. She knows that she could be in danger too. Looking at the evidence and traces at the crime scene is important to disprove these theories. A case can't be based on guesswork alone. Clear evidence is needed to find the truth. The police have gathered several important clues from the scene, including Leslie Hackman's testimony and other factors related to the music case. These are the most important things to look at to figure out who did this. When the police arrived at the scene of the attack at Gene Hackman's, at the house, they found a number of suspicious signs. First, there were signs of a fight, but the level of violence was low, suggesting that the attacker did not want to kill Leslie but only wanted to threaten her. Also, the belongings in the house were not significantly damaged, suggesting that the attack was not a break-in for theft. It is important to note that the security system had been turned off just before the attack. Usually, during attacks, security cameras would record images of the intruder, but in this case, all the data was lost, which suggests that the attacker knew how to use technology or got help from someone in the family or someone who had access to the security system. The police also noticed that there were no signs of forced entry or unlocked doors from the outside. The doors and windows had not been opened before the attack, which suggests that the intruder had legal access to the house or a key. This makes me wonder who let the attacker in, or if Leslie was being watched and attacked right away. After breaking into the house, there were only a few spots where there were signs of a struggle. This suggests that the attacker did it on purpose, attacking quickly to make Leslie panic and then running away before she could react more strongly. The attacker's behavior is a key part of figuring out what he was trying to do. According to Leslie's account, the attacker didn't say a word during the whole thing, which could mean one of two things. Either he didn't want to be, whether he knew the victim by voice or not, he planned the attack and did not talk to her beforehand. One important detail is that the attacker did not try to seriously hurt Leslie. If he wanted to kill her, he had enough time to do so. Instead, he stopped in the middle as if sending a warning. This is common when someone is making threats or trying to silence someone. Witnesses say that the attacker left the scene without taking any valuables, which suggests that his goal was not financial. The fact that nothing was taken from the house suggests a very different motive. Maybe he wanted to get Leslie to stop looking into her father's death. Another possibility is that the attacker was hired to do the act but changed his mind at the last minute. If this had been a professional hitman, he wouldn't have stopped halfway through. But if he was just hired to send a message, his actions make perfect sense. In addition to Leslie Hackman and her family, Gan Hackman's lawyers who worked with him in his last years may have seen the legal papers he signed. If there were any changes made to his will or assets, they may have important information. Also, security staff and people who work for the Hackman family should be looked into. If the CCTV system was turned off right before the attack, who had access to it? If it wasn't an outsider, someone from within the family could have done it. Helping the attacker is another important thing to think about. Another thing to think about is whether Gene Hackman had any legal or financial problems before he died. If he had any investments or ties to shady business groups, his death might not have been completely natural, but instead could have been caused by powerful people trying to silence him. Even though a lot of evidence has been gathered, there are still big holes in the case that need to be filled. The attacker's actions, the traces left at the scene of the crime, and the fact that the security system was turned off all suggest that this was not an accident. To move the investigation forward, the police could keep looking in a number of different directions to find out the truth about Leslie Hackman's attack and Gene Hackman's mysterious death. But one of the most important steps is to look at the security system data. Even though the surveillance cameras at Gan Hackman's house were turned off right before the attack, but there is still a chance that data logs are on the servers or storage systems from the security company. In modern security systems, data can be automatically stored on remote servers instead of just on local devices. If the police can get data from this system, they may be able to figure out who accessed it or who turned off the cameras before the attack, which would help them find the criminal and determine if they were successful. If anyone from Hackman's family or circle of friends helped with this crime, that's another important line of inquiry. Gene Hackman's legal documents need to be carefully looked over to see if there were any strange changes to his will or financial decisions before he died. This could be the main reason for the crime. One of the most suspicious signs is that family members' stories about Hackman's health don't always match up. If he wasn't really suffering from memory loss, as some suggested, it's reviewing Hackman's asset records, will, and financial transactions in the last few months of his life will help figure out if anything strange happened, and more importantly, who benefited from these changes. It's also important not to forget to look into Gene Hackman's professional relationships with people outside of acting. Hackman wasn't just a movie star, he had many connections in finance, media, and other fields. If he had been involved in an independent investigation or had ties to any organization before his death may not have been a natural event. Cases involving powerful people often have hidden aspects that the public cannot see at first glance. If Hackman really found a secret and planned to reveal it, he could have become a target that needed to be silenced. Another important part of the investigation is figuring out the attacker's psychology and behavior. According to Leslie Hackman's testimony, the attacker did not mean to kill her, but only wanted to send a warning message. This could mean that he wasn't acting alone, but was following orders from someone else. When someone makes a threat, they usually don't leave any obvious clues and don't do anything too extreme that could draw attention to themselves. If this was a murder attempt, the attacker had the chance to carry it out, but chose not to. Which brings up the question of who had a reason to warn Leslie that she knew something or was about to find out something that made her a target. If the police can figure out who stands to With all the information gathered, the list of possible suspects could become much smaller. The most important question now is whether or not this case can be solved. Right now, it's still unclear who the attacker was because there are no specific witnesses and too many theories. However, one thing is for sure, Leslie Hackman is in danger. If she really knows the truth about her father's death, she will likely continue to face threats in the near future. This not only makes people more worried about Leslie's safety, but it also suggests that some people are trying to hide the truth at all costs. It's possible that this case will slowly fade into obscurity, just like many other mysterious cases involving famous people in Hollywood and society's upper classes, where deaths were never properly explained. If the people behind this case really have power, they could control the investigation and make sure that There are several things that could go wrong with this case. The truth never comes out, forensic results are tampered with, witnesses are bribed, or the case is left open. But there is another possibility. Leslie is determined to find the truth and find solid evidence about her father's death. This case could take a different turn, but she will have to face even greater dangers if she really has important information. Seeking justice would not only be a personal act, but also a confrontation with. There are powerful people who will do anything to keep their secrets safe. Could Leslie find out the truth before it's too late? Are the current clues enough to solve the mystery of Gene Hackman's death? And, more importantly, who attacked her? These questions may never have a clear answer, or maybe one day a new piece of the puzzle will come out and reveal the whole case. One thing is for sure, the truth is still hidden, and those responsible will not make it easy to be found. Dr. Keller revealed that if Gene Hackman's death was really caused by dark forces, then this isn't just one case. It could be part of a larger plot in which people in the shadows are willing to do anything to hide the truth. But the most important question is, what will Leslie Hackman do? She could stay quiet, accept her fate, and let the past rest, or she could keep looking for the truth. Even though there are dangers all around her, if she really knows something about her father's death, will the truth ever be known, or will it stay buried in the dust of time? The death of Gene Hackman and the attack on Leslie Hackman have undoubtedly left many questions unanswered. Will the truth stay hidden forever, or will one day the missing pieces be put together to show what really happened in the Hackman family? We can only find out if Leslie decides to keep looking for the truth despite the dangers that lie ahead. Who do you think is really behind all of these events, and will Leslie tell the truth or let go of the past? Tell us what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and follow to make sure you don't miss any more fun and interesting videos. See you in the next one.